is officially, according to my computer, 5:30. So I am calling the Monday, January 25th, 2021 meeting of the Ayer Board of Health to order. Seems so late in January, doesn't it, already? Okay, public input. Do we have anyone here for general public input? Nope. Okay. Then we're going to go on to the continued public hearing for 96 East Main Street, application to operate a motel from Steve Wenzel at what used to be the Casa Manor and will now be Mimi's Place. So I guess just to bring everyone, I think, up to date, and I'm sorry I'm not looking at you because I'm trying to split my time with my computer screen here. We did receive a couple more pieces of communication. Let me see if I can just straighten out my screen here. So we do have the letter that was sent by Attorney I'm sorry, not Little, Lily, to Ayer's Town Council. Thank you very much for that. And there's a copy of that then in our file. I also have, and I wasn't quite sure, so I did receive a memo from Charlie Schultz with comments on Attorney Lily's letter, but Charlie, you just sent that to Board of Health, correct?
Yes, it just went to the Board of Health. I only finished it at 3 o'clock or so.
I got you. No, that's okay. I just want to know where it went. So
Yeah, it was mostly for your guys' information on, because attorney's letter mentioned the zoning and the other things, and
yes,
I just wanted to respond to it as a zoning officer, so you guys knew where I was coming from.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, you know, my opinion is always appealable to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay.
If they're not satisfied with it.
Okay, I gotcha. So in summary, and we can, of course, make a copy of this available to Mr. Wenzel through your attorney. I will also send a copy to you as well, Steve, and I'll send one to Bridget, not Bridget, Bridget, you received it, right? Or
yes.
no?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, then it's just Trish. So essentially, what Mr. Schultz is saying here is that he agrees that the motel was in operation before zoning, but it was classified as a motel both before and after zoning. So, and the previous owners never went through any process that he is aware of to change the classification. So it's Mr. Schultz's opinion as the town zoning enforcement officer that the classification as a motel is correct and therefore wouldn't get any special grandfathered classification or category because it was properly classified before and it still is. You also go on to mention that there's historical precedent that the hotel has served as a place for more long-term patrons. We have a little documentation of that now with the accounting that Attorney Lilly sent, but that was rather slow in coming to, and we still don't have any information on going back perhaps for, some period of time, exactly how long has it been treated that way. But I don't know if that's really that important because that's how it's being handled now. So given that, I would say that the task before us becomes a fairly simple one. You've applied for a license to operate a motel. And we've looked into the grandfathering option. There doesn't really seem to be anything there. And I took a deep dive into the documents that you sent over, or the information actually in your letter, Attorney Lilly. And when you look at the total number of units in this whole complex, so you've got 10 of the units with the A after them, and then there's 9 units that just have the numbers. So you've got a total altogether of 19 units. And of those, 12 of the 19, so almost 2/3, that people have been there greater than equal to 9 weeks. I took 9 weeks kind of as the cutoff because that information was as of a couple of weeks ago. And if they're there 9 weeks now, there's a reasonable chance that it's going to run over, I think, into 90 days. So it would appear that the way you want to operate this establishment and the way it is operating right now does not fit the definition of a motel.
May I respond to that?
Of course.
But
Yep.
also back up a little bit from the letter that I had provided.
Okay.
So the letter I had provided was kind of what I call a kitchen sink letter. It was spelling out our positions, but also proffering an idea that might be helpful going forward. It doesn't look like that's going to be received well. What I'm going to suggest is the following. Mr. Wenzel, who is on the line, by the way, he's the telephone call 6916.
Okay.
We had actually when we last had this meeting, I thought we had set this down for 7. So that was.
I know. I'm very sorry. That actually was my fault. I missed the reschedule.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
But that's why he's calling rather than appearing.
Yes, right.
So he's here. As we look at this, and as we look at the situation that Steve found himself in, he purchased this property in September. He inherited a situation that was not of his making. He continued on with his understanding of the way things had been run, and with the idea that was how they would continue to run.
Yes.
Seeing that is not the grandfathering argument that I'm making, apparently I'm not convincing anybody that with respect to that. However, I still feel that it is appropriate. I'm ready to move on from that analysis.
Okay.
I think that the important thing here is for Mr. Wenzel, and you said it used to be Casamana. It's still being referred to as Casamana. Right. It's just the owner is different.
Yes.
And it's still running as Casamana. It's important that he receive his license. And I agree that under that analysis, that these individuals who are living, who are there now, are to be said to be living there. That in that sense, they're no longer transient. However, also in that sense, to the extent that they're present there, I think that that to get them out would entail the need for an eviction proceeding.
Yeah, understood.
The eviction process, and perhaps fortunately for the people who are there, who are in the situation where they are not doing well, a lot of them need to have financial assistance, etc.
Sure.
Don't necessarily want to be putting people out on the street. And there is
Absolutely
the moratorium.
Right.
There is the moratorium that's in effect right now with respect to evictions. What I'm going to suggest we do is, if we could have the license issued, understanding that the eviction process has to occur
Mhm.
with those who are there for longer than they should be. That we will go forward on that as soon as we're able to do so. In the meantime, if we're able to work out something that is going to be acceptable by way of bringing things up to code for another transition, fine.
Mhm.
But right now, I think we need to preserve where we're at, preserve a status quo here, and have some conditions by which Mr. Wenzel can operate
Mhm.
and deal with the individuals who are in there.
I agree with the human element here. It's not my desire, my wish to put anyone out on the street, not at this time or at any other time. It's one of those difficult positions where we're kind of stuck between how the state defines motels and, you know, the period of occupancy, continuous occupancy that you can have. There's the town bylaw. So to issue the license for a motel when it's that far out of compliance compared to the definition of a motel doesn't really seem to me like an appropriate resolution. But I'm speaking for myself at this point, not for the board. So Steve Slasky, if you have any comment, Bridget, if you want to weigh in. I agree that we need to do something that's going to be workable for everyone. You do have people in there that are, you know, I know that you said that in the letter that you would encourage the folks in 2 of the units to try to find more appropriate housing.
And that was with
But
the idea of the overcrowding aspect.
yes, yeah. So those I think would be the priority ones. But the problem is that it appears quite clear that going forward, there is not an intent to operate this as a motel is defined. In fact, there's an advertisement up right now on social media for an apartment there. It says it's an apartment, no lease, you can renew as long as you want, stay here as long as you want. So there isn't a good faith effort on Casamana's part to try to fit into the regulation.
If I can respond to that issue,
Sure.
because Bridget brought this up to me, and I did speak to Steve about this. Apparently, there has been some advertisement that has gone through a realtor. The realtor, in using a particular program, has labeled this as an apartment. That's wrong. It should not have been labeled as an apartment. Apparently had something to do with the software and checking off a particular box. I've instructed Steve, and Steve agrees to have this pulled, have these ads.
Okay, all right.
Keep in mind, he's just coming into this. He has received an understanding of what should be happening that is not necessarily correct. This is something that has always been operating as a motel, hotel, that I understand that it's out of compliance at the moment, and we desperately want to bring it into compliance. And to do that, I think we still need to have that hotel motel license in effect, with the ability for us to respond to conditions that you put on that license.
But
I think at its initial stage, we need to have that in place.
I understand what
Otherwise,
you're
everyone is out
saying.
on the street.
No, I understand what you're saying, because it does seem a little tenuous to just leave this in limbo, and I don't want it to stay in limbo for a long time. On the other hand, we can't issue a license for something that you don't conform to, and it doesn't appear that there's a good faith effort to conform. even from the listing of tenant, no names, but, just the listing of how many people are there, adults and children. I'm very concerned that you singled out the two that you want to try to help seek a better situation because of the overcrowding. But that does nothing to bring, the rest of this into the definition of a motel with,
So,
the term of stay.
so I understand what you're saying. I have to say that there is a good faith basis. We're operating in good faith. We're attempting to arrive at an analysis. I was setting forth some reason for determining that I believe that this is grandfathered, why this is grandfathered, and what the appropriate definition should be. Steve, prior to my becoming involved, was responding to questions that were put to him, and I'm responding to questions that are put to me. I think we're answering those questions.
Yeah.
We are holding back on the names as we
Oh,
discussed.
of course, we don't need them. Yeah.
But the reason for what I had put in the letter was that if we were to perhaps separate out, and this is following on the discussion from from the last meeting.
Yep.
If we were to separate out the two, then maybe we can, then that might take us out of the issue with respect to a hotel motel in the back. And perhaps use that as another situation that might be a rooming house or apartments or whatever. But then we get into the issues of code and everything else. At this point, I would like to withdraw my letter from that I submitted. I've set out certain thoughts we had in mind going a certain way, but it doesn't seem to be receptive. So rather than having it stand as an effort to not to comply, as an effort of not engaging in good faith, I'd rather withdraw it and go forward with the license and have the license issue. And then we can deal with the issues of compliance with that license. Right now, we don't have a license to comply with. I'd like to have that issued.
Pam,
Yep. Let me see your point. Yes.
this is Steve Slarsky.
Yeah.
With all respect to Attorney Lilly and Steve Wenzel, I feel for the place that you find yourselves in, but that was nothing to do with the town of Ayer or with the Ayer Board of Health or the licensing part of it. The due diligence should have been done prior to the purchase, not trying to fix something or put a square peg in a round hole after the fact. So I can't change that, but it's nothing that we caused. It's a situation that the purchaser put himself in. We didn't put him in the position. He made the decision to do that. And now we're looking to see how we can fix that. Would you agree with that?
Would I agree with that?
I
Yes.
personally do.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree that we're in a situation that, and I hate to see the whole thing fall on the current owner, who is now in a position where he does have to fix this. What I'm trying to do is to determine what is in the best, what's best for everybody involved here. Now, as far as the town not being, not knowing or not being a part of it, as I did reference in that letter, there is some, the master plan references the fact that this is a place that services the homeless population of Ayer, and that the town would like to continue to foster that. I have done some research into some of the voter lists going back to 1946, and seeing that there have been people who have held this location out as a home.
Okay.
there are concerns that we do find ourselves in, but not issuing the license, I would suggest, is perhaps going to have the effect that we're all saying we don't want to have, and that is he's no longer able to have these people there, and now they're out in the street. What is the obligation at that point?
Well, I think it depends to some degree on how this is done. And honestly, and Steve, I think, did you catch at the beginning, I'd mentioned that Trish can't make the meeting tonight.
I did
So,
not. Thank you.
okay, yeah, so we do not have Trish tonight. So I'm not rushing ahead to a decision without us discussing it, but it seems to me that to issue a license for something that from the get-go doesn't meet the requirements of that licensing, the better option would be to reject the application for a motel without prejudice, just on the grounds that as it is being run right now, and as the owner has expressed the interest to run it going forward, it doesn't meet the definition from either Mass General laws or from our zoning bylaw. That would then allow you to pursue other options, and we can just take the motel piece off the table. You are something. You're some sort of long-term residence. It's definitely filling a need in the town. I see that. I just don't think that the answer for that is to license something that is that non-conforming.
My concern is once you say he's no longer a hotel motel, this is no longer pending, it's a rejection, whether it's with prejudice or without prejudice, he finds himself in that position where now he's got this place full of people that is being run not according to the laws of the Commonwealth.
Right.
Can we hold off on that decision while we take those steps to try to bring things back into compliance? The problem is the moratorium, and what are we going to do with?
I know.
With that.
And I don't want to.
He stepped into the shoes of this situation when the moratorium, after the moratorium had taken place. So I'm looking for us to, I guess, hit the pause button here until we can get back to where we need to be.
Pam,
Yes.
so, I came into this process late. I'm not new to the town of Ayer, and I'm aware of master plans, and that's all really good stuff. Everyone has master plans, but they are not the law. They're not the zoning. All they are is what people think something in the future should be, and that's nice, but I don't think it's relevant. So I looked at the application, and I tend to agree with Attorney Lilly. There has to be some solution here, and I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But in terms of a good faith effort to be compliant, from what I've seen in the short term I've been on the board, it either hasn't been communicated well, or there's an intent not to communicate well. And I don't know which one it is. But looking at the application and looking at what you're asking for, two very different things. I also got the communication from the town's attorney that suggested that if we wish to enter into a license, that there could be conditions for compliance. And without Trish being here tonight, I think my personal opinion, there should be three of us in terms of the conversation. There's been no communication back to us in terms of when this would be compliant with the application that you applied for. And I'm not opposed to giving like 7 days to issue us a letter when you would be compliant, that we could issue a motel license. But right now I've got nothing to issue anything on. It's conversation. And I agree with Pam. There's no intent to put anyone out anywhere.
Right.
but there has to be an effort to find relocation for people. And I don't see that going on either. And again, that's not
Yeah.
our job from the town of Ayer to do that. The property owner bought the property. He either knew or should have known what he was buying when he bought it. And, now you're looking for us to fix it. And I'm willing to help, but I don't see a real lot of cooperation here in terms of finding a solution.
Pam, if I could,
Yes, of course.
so I tend to agree with Steve on that point, where if there was some laid out letter that said when they could, steps that they could bring it into compliance. If the Board of Health is satisfied, the court always wants us to try and work stuff out ourselves.
Of course. Yeah.
And, it's gonna cost the town money and
Yeah.
the prospective owner money. But I would agree with Steve, if they were to submit some sort of letter with steps outlining when they could come into appliance, you guys could probably make a better decision and actually run it by town council too.
Yeah, I think that does make a lot of sense. And I guess I would wonder, and you may not want to say at this point, I don't mean to put you on the spot like this, but you have to figure out going forward, then what do you want to be compliant with? You want to run a motel that's going to have a 30 or 60 or 90-day occupancy limit, or do you, which is what I feel like is what you want to do, and I feel like this is kind of what Ayer needs, is to run a low cost kind of safety net place where people can stay. I can't fit that into the motel regulation, but if you could help us
You're
understand
saying perhaps
which way
a
do you
rooming
want to go.
Are you suggesting a rooming house?
I don't know. I don't know if this, I did look at that. I was looking at different definitions and trying to see, does this meet a rooming house? Do you know, Charlie, if this falls
Well,
under?
the problem, I don't have my books in front of me at my house.
Yeah.
But the
yeah.
issue is that once you change classification, depending on where you're jumping to, there's different standards they have to meet. Like if he were
Yeah.
to use the back as an apartment house, just for an example, in Massachusetts, you have to have two forms of egresses, and you couldn't really get two forms of egresses. So that would kind of be out to try and get those as apartment houses, which is just
Not
off the top.
apartment houses, we're talking rooming houses.
Yeah.
No,
room-
I'm using apartment houses as an example because
Okay.
that was
okay.
talked about maybe separating the things. But as I put in my letter to you, I would need a
Yeah.
formal submission so I could do a zoning review as well as a building code review. And the fire department would have to do a review,
Yeah.
and the Board of Health has their guidelines from the state. So if I were the owner, I would try and fit into motel hotel, give it some time, hire an architect, and then see what he can do by code and by law.
And that's what I'm suggesting is the best approach here. And that is to, and I can provide the letter that deals with the plan going forward, but that we issue the license with conditions dealing with the motel, hotel. And then as we examine things going forward, and I've spoken to Steve about this, then we can have the ability to explore and see what is available to him rather than reacting, which I think is what we're doing at this point.
Well, it might make sense then. Do you think that you could get that detailed plan to us with the steps that you want to take? What's the end point you want to achieve? And is that two different businesses essentially, or is it one that would operate under a single set of rules? What are the specific steps? How long do you think it will take you to get there? If you could get that to us, our February meeting is, I'm sorry, you probably, somebody else.
The 8th and the 22nd.
Yep, thank you.
Can we do the 22nd so that I have more time to put something together here?
Steve, Charlie, Bridget?
So,
Um, Go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
So I think it's important, Pam, because Attorney Lilly withdrew the letter that was written stating that what Mr. Wenzel wanted to do with the property. I think it's important that before the board makes a decision that Mr. Wenzel put in writing what his intention is and give timeframes for when he can find alternative housing for these individuals. And then have council look at that in order to make sure that what we're issuing or what the board's issuing for a permit with conditions is acceptable. But we really still don't have much from Mr. Wenzel, including a COVID plan.
Pam, this is Steve again.
Yes.
I think we've been very generous in terms of time, and I think the board has been very generous. I think that, you know, coming up with whatever the compliance plan is within a 2-week period that satisfies the application that you made is what I'm looking at, because the only thing that I can make a decision on is your application. Nothing more, nothing less. And
Right.
if it's your intent to be compliant with your application, I'd be in favor of doing that within 2 weeks. If you're not in favor, if you're going to withdraw the application, I guess that's, you know, entirely up to you. But I don't think that that really resolves where you're at.
Right.
But I want something quicker than 30 days from now that we look at, and 30 days later.
Right.
I want to see what the plan is. And, you know, not eviction, relocation, call it whatever you will. What's the time frame that's reasonable for you to do that, or for your client to do that? And I'd be in favor of doing that, but I'm not in favor of dragging this out.
Understood.
I agree with that. I think that this has had it's had a reasonable amount of time, and it seems that with all of the discussion and all of the research that we've all been doing into the laws and the regs, that you should be kind of getting an idea in your head where you want to go with this. So I'd like to have that in time to distribute to the board before the meeting on the 8th. So that would mean we would need to have it by like Tuesday, Wednesday of the week before. So that would give you a little more than a week.
Can I make it later in the week?
The sooner the
Wednesday or
better.
Thursday, I guess.
Actually, if you get it, help me out, Heather. I think noon on Thursday is the
Noon on
deadline
Thursday?
for getting it into the meeting packet, right?
Yeah, so when we're continuing the hearing tonight, we do have to continue it to a certain time and day. So whether he gets his materials or not, if we're continuing it to the 8th, it's going to be heard on the 8th.
Okay.
So, but I do like to see a deadline of at least a couple days before the meeting to have everything in the office. With COVID and everything, how schools are going, I'm not in the office on Fridays because my kids are remote learning, but I do check my emails from home. Not necessarily saying I'm going to get a chance to do that. So yeah, the Thursday beforehand, before the meeting, is the absolute deadline, but we do need to pick a date to continue it to. Before we.
Pam,
So let's continue it to the 8th. I understand that there's a hard deadline of noon on Thursday, and I will endeavor to get it in sooner than that.
Okay.
Attorney Lilly and Pam, before you send anything to us as what your compliance letter is, I would hope you would run that through all the agencies that need to approve it. And from what I assume, it's the building inspector, it's the Board of Health, and the fire chief. So whatever you give to us, I would hope you have already come to whatever resolution is with those bodies. So we have something. I don't want to go back and ask Charlie. I don't want to go back and ask the fire chief, Board of Health, is this okay? I want whatever you get to us is something that they've seen and they say, yes, we can work with that. And I'm more than willing to work with you. And I realize it's a lot of work, but it is what it is.
That does make sense. And that would allow us then on the 8th to, as you say, we don't have to go check with any of these other people. We can actually hammer out the conditions on the permit on the 8th. So yes, that would be very helpful for us if you could get it to fire chief and building inspectors.
Understood.
Okay. Okay, then with that, I will move absent any.
Steve seems to have his hand up.
Oh, okay. I
Pam,
see.
Wenzel?
Steve Wenzel.
Yeah,
Steve, do you know how to, I think it's *6 to, there you go.
This
Go ahead,
is Steve
Steve.
Wenzel. Can you hear me?
yes.
It's tough for me to sit there and listen and not talk. So,
I know.
so Bridget, thank you. I do have the COVID plan. So I wanted to ask you if there's anything else you need from me.
At this point in time, it's, if you're gonna pursue the hotel motel avenue, it's just having basically the management plan in place. One of the things that we look for with hotels and motels is periodically checking the guest register. So I would have that set up because that would most likely be a condition of the permit, being able to view that guest register with fire, building, myself.
Right.
And
So
then-
that I did just I started that up about a week ago.
Okay.
It's a different format, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you ever looked at how it was done in the past. I continued. It's just it's basically slips of paper kept together. So there's like instead of just a name on a sheet, it's got the name, their address, their make of the car, and the police flipped through it once. They seemed to like it, but.
Okay.
But so there is a register. Actually, nobody signed it yet, but it actually exists now.
Okay.
One thing you could do to help me is I gave you a bunch of the policy letters or from the former owners.
Yep.
Some of them were laminated, and
Mhm.
so I have a fair amount of what I want, and what I've done is as I've gone along, I've learned, oh, I should have this in the policy. So I'm kind of learning as I'm going with that in some respects, but I'd like to probably use some of the things that are in there. I remember saying, well, that's actually pretty good. And some of it, I wouldn't use at all, but if it's possible, you probably still want it, but if we could just get a photocopy of it, that would be helpful.
Is that the one, so do you want it back, what you gave me?
If you don't need it anymore, that'd be fine. Or if you want to,
Yeah, I'll
you
make
could
a
give it back
copy.
and
I'll make copies. I actually think I emailed them to the board, so I can just forward that to you by email.
Oh, okay, that'd be great.
Would that work for you? That'd probably be quicker.
Yeah, that would work fine.
Okay.
So there's one, so we've talked in the past, not that this is generic right now, but I was asked before about lead inspections. So I wound up going to the state and finding one. I don't have the website in front of me, but Bridget, 20 years ago, you went out and actually did one on Unit 2A. I don't expect you'd ever remember doing that. It was 20 years ago, but it came back as being no lead found. So
Okay.
I do have a copy of that. I wound up getting that yesterday online. I never even knew the thing existed, the website, but that's what I was looking for the day I was over looking through the file. I was just looking because the owner had told me there was a lead inspection on Unit 2A. And I was looking and I didn't see it in the file. So
usually after we do a lead determination and lead isn't found, the state comes out and basically follows up and does a full inspection. Do you know if that was done through the state?
I don't know if that was done. All I saw was a one-liner.
Okay, I can follow up with the lead program.
Yeah, so I was glad to see that it didn't have any. I figured that would have had to have been the case, or something would have happened.
Yeah.
All right, so COVID plan. I want to do the policy. We haven't talked about that, I don't think, for a while, but that's something that you did want.
Pam?
As far as is a management plan and policy similar or the same
Same, yeah.
thing, or?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
it is.
interchangeable. Just basically what your, like the rules are.
Okay,
Yes, and part of those rules that you should be giving to your tenants is that, yeah, it should include that length of stay. You should be
yes,
letting them know upfront what these are the conditions on your length of stay.
okay.
This is Steve Slarsky again. I appreciate
Yes.
Wenzel's questions, but I think those are things that he needs to take up with the agencies. And, you know, if we're continuing, I think we should go forward and let him work out any questions that he has, but I don't think that's germane to our hearing at this moment. I do have a question on the application though. It says motel, hotel, hotel is struck out. So this is only for a motel, I assume. And you had made comment at the beginning about the number of rooms. The application says 20 rooms. Is it 19 or is it 20?
It's 19 as I count them up.
There
Okay.
is another
So-
room that is the owner's room. I don't know if that's the 20th, Steve.
That would be the 20th.
Oh, okay, okay. But there are 19 rental units, correct?
There are 19 rental units.
Okay,
Right.
got it. All right.
Okay, because
That's a good question.
number of rooms or guest rooms is what it, just make sure your
Yeah.
application is what you're applying for, I guess.
Yeah.
I hadn't
Sure.
seen the application until tonight.
Mhm.
But with that, Pam, I would ask that we continue the hearing to a time certain, that being February the 8th, is it? Is that correct?
That would be February 8th. Yes.
At 7 o'clock or 5:30?
That's a good question. What do you want to do this one at 7 o'clock?
That
7:30?
would
Works
be
a lot better
preferred.
for me.
Does it? Okay. We can do that. Which one? 7, 7:30?
Why don't we say 7?
Okay. All right.
So-
7 o'clock.
My motion will be at 7 o'clock then, Pam. And if you wish to second my, I have some discussion after the motion is seconded.
Okay. I second
So-
that.
Okay,
All in favor?
discussion first?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Is there any confusion from the applicant or Attorney Lilly on what the board is asking for that date?
You are asking for a plan as to how we are to bring things into compliance that are currently not in compliance.
And that it will be
You're
approved?
asking me to provide that to you by Thursday.
Mhm.
And perhaps that would give a framework for a good faith basis going forward on a license with conditions.
That's the end of my discussion. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Okay. That works. Now, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are continued
Good night.
until,
Good night.
good night. It was good seeing you. And your cat.
All right, so
Could
we're
I
all
ask
set.
one,
Night.
could I
you all
ask one
set?
more question?
Sure.
So back in October, I had asked for some signs, some signage, and I never did get it. Is there a way I could pick that up? I guess at the Board of Health?
I'm gonna email it to you. Is that okay?
I'm sure.
It's just,
What
they're
kind
just,
of signage? Just out of curiosity.
I think it was
Yeah,
the
it's just
code.
like the COVID sign. Like I have a,
Okay,
I have
all
a
right,
place
okay.
where it's nothing fancy, I guess, but I'd like to put something a little more professional up.
so
Okay.
what I'm gonna email you, Steve, is it's the COVID information from mass.gov. So it's basically, it'll probably be a link that you can, and so you can print whatever you want. But it has the signage and all the
okay.
information that you'll need.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
That's great.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Good night.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
We'll
Good
see you
night.
in 2 weeks.
All right.
Okay. Now, if I can find my agenda in this pile of documents, I believe that Bridget, you are on next to tell us about, yes, you are, all things COVID.
What do you want to know?
What's
I
going
think,
on?
It's
When can I
scary.
get a vaccine? That's what I want to know.
That's what we're working on.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk and a lot of, meetings and things going on today. I think, the biggest issue is getting the vaccines and having the state
Mhm.
distribute them appropriately to different agencies, towns. I did see today, mass.gov does have a link up with a map, and they're showing more sites for people to get the COVID vaccine.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, it's good. It's an interactive,
It's a good step.
it really was. And I think there's somewhere between 130, maybe 140 locations. And again, I think the state is starting to talk to primary care physicians, about having them issue,
Yeah.
give the vaccines. So it's slow and steady, but I'm starting to see
Yeah.
things pick up a little bit. So that's good.
Yeah,
And
it
people
is
are
slow.
people
It
are
is.
finding vaccines. I mean, believe it or not. So
Yeah, exactly. I expected so much more out of Massachusetts, but it is what it is.
don't give up hope. I mean,
No,
I
I'm
said
not.
today,
I'm not.
I mean, it's discouraging, but encouraging at the same time, because, we can only move so quickly.
Right.
If we don't have the vaccine, we can't distribute it. So, that's
Yep.
what we're looking for, is getting the vaccine and then setting up clinics to do that. But again,
Sure.
it's in the hands of, basically, I say the state,
Yeah.
and they report to the federal government.
To dole it out, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Steve. Yeah, I probably share the same feelings that you do in terms of disappointment, but I'm also resolved to the fact that pointing fingers today doesn't get a shot in anyone's arm.
Right.
And Massachusetts has done worse than many other states in terms of the entire process, without, again, pointing fingers at anybody.
Yeah.
But the real problem I have is that we're assuming everyone can go onto the internet. We're assuming everyone can do research in terms of finding out where they're going to get a vaccine. And that's not not everyone has the internet. Not everyone has the same capabilities.
Right.
And the communication that has come to us as a Board of Health from all directions has been poor at best. I don't feel as though I've been kept up to date unless I ask questions that are very pointed. And that's disappointing on many different levels. I can live with that, but not letting people know how they can either plan to get this.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be through the Air Board of Health and the SHOBA, but what are their resources? I feel a loss of how we can help people.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Steve, and it would be my hope that, personal care, primary care physicians might be offering a little bit more guidance, but I don't know if they have more information than we do at this point. Bridget, are they actually sending vaccines to physicians' practices, or are they still going to places like Neshoba and to medical centers?
To my knowledge, they're not at the primary cares yet.
Yeah.
That's, again, I can't speak fully on that, but that is my understanding, that the primary cares don't fully have them at this point. I think in the next phase, what I'm hearing is the outreach is going to be with, especially for the over 75, it's going to be with like the COAs, the housing authorities, trying to branch out that way. So, but again, it's just, we can't do anything until we have a vaccine. We can't, and that's the problem, is getting that vaccine right now. And then figuring out the best way to get it to all the people that need it quickly.
Pam, this is Steve one more time, and I'll be quiet. I just think that anyone that is looking to get vaccinated needs to explore every avenue at their available. And whether it be through a housing authority, whether it be through a pharmacy or pharmacy chain, but I don't think that, people should depend upon us to direct them at this point in time where they can get a vaccine. People really need to seek that out. And if it's calling your primary care, call your primary care. But, if you're that concerned about getting a vaccine, and I certainly would be, I think it's a public health catastrophe that's happening.
Absolutely.
They should seek every possible means of getting the vaccine, whatever that might be. And if a plan comes about with the towns that are part of Neshoba, that's great. And that will just add to the availability. But right now, I think people should be as creative as they can be.
Yeah, absolutely. There was, for a while there, Bridget, you said was it one of the pharmacies, or was it like Stop and Shop or Star Market that was?
Yeah, they're starting to, I think it was Shaw's and Osco. You can,
Okay, all right.
you can give your email and they'll start updating people by email. I do know, again, I happened to be sitting in on a phone call with some other towns in Central Mass that, they were trying to figure out how many vaccines they would need for the next round. Same thing. How many do they need? How are they going to get them? How many is the state going to give them? And that's where I actually learned about this interactive map, it was pretty interesting. And I looked at it and clicked some of the locations, and one of them is actually at a supermarket. So they're doing them at I think it might've been at maybe a Hannaford, somewhere in Central Mass. So you basically call, sign up, and then you go during your allocated time. And I did see some other pharmacies as well. And like I said, they are starting to talk to the primary care physicians. But and the pharmacies are going out to assisted living facilities and nursing homes and issuing the COVID vaccine there.
Yeah.
So
that started this week, I think, or last week too.
Yeah, the Veterans Administration has already started giving vaccines as well. So anyone that is a veteran that is eligible can go through the VA.
Yes, I did hear that as well.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. I'm just looking it up now on, about the map. Yep. Yeah, I think we're going to have to be very creative here, because there just isn't one answer. There's no one place that can give you all the information we want.
Right.
And it's unfortunate.
It is. And, again, it's very discouraging.
I'm just glad we don't have pandemics very often.
People are getting vaccinated. I guess that's trying to pull something positive from it. And hopefully in the next few weeks, we start really seeing the numbers increase in total vaccinations.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a couple. I'm clicking on the map here. There are a couple, Leominster.
So they're starting to set them up, and again, I don't know if they're fully there yet, but the goal is to have, I think, things set up so when the vaccine comes in, there's a plan.
Yeah, exactly. Steve, can a pharmacist give the vaccination as long as there's someone there to?
Yes.
Like, how do they handle any trained person can stand by and do is it 15 minutes or 30 minutes?
15 minutes is what
Wait, 15-minute, yeah.
but yes,
Okay.
pharmacy tech,
Pharmacists can administer it, great,
pharmacy techs can do it.
great,
the
great.
Clinic that I went to in California was very simply set up, but very effective. And they got people through very fast. It's not rocket science. It has to be done safely,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, but if there's planning going on, I would hope that we would be CC'd on whatever planning that is so we can communicate effectively. But I think communications has been tough at best.
yeah,
And that's on all levels, no matter who you talk to, there's poor communication going on here. And I'm sure there's a lot of work going on, but not kept apprised to it, it really doesn't accomplish much. And
yeah. Yeah, and then we're always in that fix of it doesn't really help people to tell them that we're working on it. People don't want to hear that we're working on it. They want to hear what week can I expect to get my shot?
Yep.
And I think that that's the unfortunate thing that still a lot of people don't really know.
Yep.
In fact, most people don't know. So, all right. Are the numbers, Bridget, kind of holding around the same? Are
I
we?
think we're getting better. I checked in Friday. I tried to check in with Tamara, but she was on phone calls all afternoon. But as of last Friday, things did look a little bit better. And like I said, the federal prison, those numbers are down. So that's good. The community spread is pretty bad though. And that's, one of the things that, we continue to see is, and I was on a job site last week where they were building a house and not one of the construction crew had masks on. And they were side by side. They were carrying in slate. They were, no one had a mask on. We see people driving in trucks together and they don't have masks on. And, again, that's what happens where people aren't wearing them. That's where the problems arise, especially with the carpooling we're finding as well. So, I mean, some people just, we're hoping with, things moving forward, different agencies. I think OSHA's getting more involved. I heard with construction crews, making sure that staff are wearing masks, but it's constant.
Yeah, it's difficult to stay on top of. That's for sure.
But I mean,
no reason to be any less vigilant now than, anyone who's made it this far, which is, I guess, Bridget, you've got one dose of vaccine, right? I've had none.
Yeah.
Steve's vaccinated. But
I mean, and I've heard
made it this long. I'm not going to let my vigilance, start to slip now.
Right. No, and I mean, the unsettling piece of it is there's not a lot of information out there. I don't even know if I'm going to get my second shot. I mean, I hope I do.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee to that either. So,
Steve, do you happen to know, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to talk about COVID all night, but just out of curiosity, I think I saw something in the paper today about the CDC is saying now that it's okay to mix if you had a vaccine from one manufacturer for your first shot, you can have one from a different manufacturer. Do you know anything about that?
the latest that I read was that would be on an extreme situation only.
Okay.
I don't think there's any science to support that.
Yeah.
And everything that I've seen says that if you get the Moderna, your second shot should be Moderna. And if you get the Pfizer, it should be Pfizer. I did hear that Merck withdrew their application today for their vaccine. It did not work.
They did?
Merck withdrew their application, but
Wow.
the J&J one, I think, is still going forward. And I think that, I don't know if they're under an emergency use. But the whole EUA thing is fascinating to me. It's emergency authorization. But, like I said, I think it's a catastrophe that's happening. And, it's too bad it's not being handled as a catastrophe,
Right, exactly. I couldn't agree with you more there. Okay, anything else exciting going on? Steve did attend the Neshoba quarterly meeting on Ayer's behalf this time, right? That was last Thursday,
Yes.
Steve, and you're going to continue in that capacity?
Well, I guess the next quarterly meeting is when? So this is January, that'd be in March or April?
Yeah, about every 4 months, yeah.
So there's an election coming up, and that depends on who's on the board at the time. So
Not planning too
That's
far
all.
in the future.
yeah, but if I happen to be sitting here, I'd be happy to attend the meeting.
Okay, all right,
The
great,
meeting,
got it.
a lot of numbers. It was very financially oriented.
Yeah,
I don't have my arms around that by any means, but it was interesting to listen
Yeah.
to.
okay, that sounds good. Yeah, definitely remember to pull your papers and start getting those signatures. All right, minutes of January 11th. Steve, have you had an opportunity to review the minutes?
Did, Pam, and I didn't see anything in it that jumped out at me.
No, it actually looks good to me. There's just there's like a couple of little spelling things that I can do before I send my signed version to you.
I'll make a motion. We accept the minutes as presented. Is that
Yep, I second. All in favor?
aye?
Aye. Okay, minutes are accepted. I will sign them. I will email that signed copy to you, Steve, and then you can get it back to Heather.
Sure.
Do we have any mail
No
or
mail,
any bills?
no bills.
No mail, no bills?
No, it's all, I mean, I haven't gotten anything in a while. The only thing I've been getting is death certificates, but that's about it.
Oh, yeah, well,
It's been pretty quiet.
Heather, thank you for getting me that application today.
Oh, you're welcome. Sorry it took me so long.
Well, no,
forgot for a few minutes.
I didn't know what I was actually listening to at the hearing. So that was very helpful in terms of, I've seen one of these before. So
yeah,
it's a one-page thing. That's it.
yeah, exactly. All right, then I think, we'll check in with one another, Heather, before the agenda goes out, but I think the agenda for the next meeting is gonna look a lot like the agenda for this meeting.
Yes, the only question I have is the February 8th meeting. Wasn't that the one that
Yeah,
Lori Sable wanted to come to?
oh, yeah, that's right. I kind of have a feeling we might spend a lot of time. Here are the options. If she wants to come for public input
Okay.
and just make, a comment or speak to us as public input, she can do that at any meeting. I would say that if she wants to actually be on as an agenda item to come to us with a proposal to consider, then she would be better off doing that following meeting.
Okay, I just want to clear that with you.
Yeah.
Because I have to tell her sooner than later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Hey, Pam, the only thing that I have before we hang up is
Sure.
the next continuation of the hearing is going to be pretty important in terms of decision making. And
Yes.
we asked, the building inspector who was on the call and show to make sure that whatever is sent is approved by them before we see it.
Yeah.
Can Heather communicate that with the fire chief, what he should be expecting as well from Attorney Lilly or Mr. Wenzel? Because I don't think,
That would make sense, Heather. When you get this documentation, I don't know if it's all going to come at once or, you know, if it's going to be in pieces, but the plan for Casamana / Mimi's Place, if you could just be forwarding that, well, to Charlie is easy, right?
Yeah.
You see him all the time. But yes, also to the fire chief and
Yep.
just, yeah, kind of let them know where we are on this, that we're trying to hammer out some conditions to perhaps be able to do a license.
Yeah.
And just want to make sure that he's okay. He may still, you know, say, I need to go out and inspect more or see something in units. That's fine.
Yeah,
But
I can
just as
definitely do
long as
that.
he has-
That's not a
Okay.
problem.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Are you preparing for chickens?
Oh, I need to start doing
year.
that. Yeah. So what? That's May. Those go through May. So yeah, those will start going out. Probably start those in the middle of February.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I went
sorry,
to
that's
my-
just
I
one
got
of
my
my
kids
favorite.
out today, and I got 3 dozen eggs. They sell their eggs to Farmers Exchange because they have 50 chickens at their dad's house,
Holy cow.
and they have like 12 ducks.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a farmer in West Groton that my ex-husband was friend that was close to that passed away a few months ago, and they inherited
my
a lot of his
God.
animals.
Yeah, exactly.
So they now have 50 chickens.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's probably more eggs than they can deal with by themselves.
Yeah. So they sell them.
All right, then. I think we are about all set for this evening. Any last comments from anyone? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would so move.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Seconded. I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I eventually get it right.